can run from your past, but sometimes it sends you an invitation back.
A year ago, Marion had exposed a senator's hush money payments tied to a prostitution ring, but her key witness turned out to be a con artist. The senator sued, the paper distanced themselves, and Twitter called her everything but a journalist. She was radioactive now. That's why she was here, to disappear, or so she thought. She unpacked her things in the musty old cottage, not planning to do anything beyond sleeping and drinking. But on her second night back, a letter slipped under the door. No stamp, no return address, just her name scribbled in all caps, Marion Blight. She froze. There were only 3 people in town who even knew she was back. She opened the envelope. Inside was a yellow newspaper and a handwritten note on a torn notebook paper. If you want to know what really happened to Lily Traynor, follow the red trail. It never went cold. Signed, a friend. She sat down slowly, staring at the article. Lily Traynor. She remembered the name. Everyone in town did. Lily was the judge's daughter. Beautiful, brilliant, vanished after prom night and was never seen again. Most people said she ran away. Rumors swelled for years. Pregnancy, drugs, suicide, but nothing stuck. Eventually, they stopped asking questions. A cold case, 4 decades old. Marion felt her pulse raise in a way it hadn't in months. She flipped the paper over. Something was underlined on the back with a red pen. An obituary. Anthony Traynor, husband to Eleanor and father to Lily, passed away in his sleep last week at the age of 84. The father had just died. Was that a coincidence? She looked at the letter again. Follow the red trail. What did that mean? She knew herself too well. She should have thrown it away, shut the door, and focused on rebuilding her life. But the journalist in her, the one that still believed in justice, even after it nearly destroyed her, couldn't resist. Something was here, something buried. The next morning, Marion went to the public records office. The clerk, a bald 40-something woman named Judy, with red acrylics and a gossip streak, didn't recognize her. An hour later, Marion had dug through every article on Lily Traynor's disappearance. The basic story was consistent. Prom night, she got in a car with someone and was never seen again. Her boyfriend at the time, Jonah Reddick, claimed she was upset and wanted space. Nobody, no car, no leads. Jonah had moved out of town 2 years later and was now a school principal in another state. But something odd caught her eye. George Traynor had blocked a search warrant for Jonah's house in the early investigation. Why? And there was another small detail buried in a side column. A diary belonging to Lily had gone missing from her bedroom the night after she disappeared. Missing evidence, blocked searches, silence. Marion leaned back in the chair. This wasn't just a runaway. That night, she walked to the cemetery on the hill. George Traynor had just been buried. The plot was still fresh. The flowers too new, too clean. But next to his stone was a small headstone for Lily, even though nobody had ever been recorded. 1964, beloved daughter, forever missed. Something about that question mark chilled her. She turned to leave, but someone else was already there, watching from the other side of the graveyard. A man in a tan coat, smoking. He didn't speak, didn't move, just watched. Marion picked up her pace, heart hammering. 2 nights later, everything changed. She was sipping tea on her porch when her old flip phone, an ancient thing she used just for emergencies, buzzed with a text. No number, No name, just a video file. She hesitated, then pressed play. The grainy footage opened to a room. Dim, walls peeling, a flickering lamp in the corner, and there, sitting in a plastic chair, was a woman, mid-50s, pale, hair matted. She looked directly into the camera, and then she said something that made Marian's blood freeze. "My name is Lily Traynor, and everything they told you was a lie." Marian didn't sleep. She watched the video again and again, pausing, rewinding, zooming in. Was it a deep fake? Was it real? The woman in the video called herself Lily Traynor. Same name, same town, same haunting eyes Marian had seen in old newspaper clippings. But Lily had been gone for 43 years, gone so long that even conspiracy terrorists gave up. Her gravestone sat in the cemetery. Her disappearance had been mourned, theorized, and finally forgotten. Until now, Marian paced the creaking floorboards of her grandmother's house. The video hadn't come with a second message. No demand, no explanation, just proof of life and a bombshell confession. Everything they told you was a lie. She had to find out who sent it. St. Velora wasn't a big place. It was a town where secrets festered rather than faded. If you wanted to hide something, you buried it behind smiles and stained glass sermons. Marian drove her rusted jeep down Hollow Creek Road towards the Traynor estate. The mansion sat like a ghost atop the hill. Stone walls, cracked columns, and shutters that hadn't opened in years. Now that both parents were dead, it was supposedly empty. But the iron gate wasn't locked. She slipped through, heart pounding. The front door was shut, but not bolted. The inside smelled like dust and forgotten perfume. Everything was exactly as it was in the photos. Grand staircase, oil portraits, velvet wallpaper. She made her way to Lily's old bedroom. It had been left intact like a shrine. Pink walls, a canopy bed, a dusty record player on the desk. But what caught her eye was the closet. Inside, clothes hung in rows, prom dresses, sweaters, even a St. Velora high jacket. And something else taped to the wall, a photo. Lily smiling at prom, standing next to a boy, Jonah Reddick. Behind them, Marian recognized someone that made her stomach turn, her own mother. Marian stared at the photo. Her mother, Deborah Blight, had always refused to talk about the Traynor family. But here she was, smiling next to Lily, in the very dress she still kept in a suitcase under her bed. Lily hadn't just been a classmate, she had been her mother's best friend. Back home, Marian tore through old boxes of family keepsakes. It didn't take long to find a letter tucked in the pages of an old yearbook. "Deb, I think he's following me. George T is starting to suspect. If anything happens to me, it's not an accident. Burn this. Please, no one can know." It was unsigned, but the handwriting matched the signature in the prom photo. Lily. Marian sat back in her chair, shaking. Lily hadn't run away. She had always been in danger. She tracked Jonah down through a public school database. He was now the principal of a prep academy 2 states away. Clean record, married, kids, but his online bio made no mention of St. Velora. She called using a burner phone, posing as a podcast producer, interested in cold cases. He hung up the moment she said Lily Traynor. That only made her dig deeper. The next day, an anonymous email came through. "You should have stayed away. What's buried should stay buried." It wasn't signed, but it was traced to a dummy domain created that morning from a library IP address downtown. Someone was watching her. That night, someone broke into the house. Marion woke up at 2:17 a.m. to the sound of a floorboard creaking downstairs. She grabbed her phone and crept down with a flashlight. The back door was wide open. Papers were scattered across the floor. Her laptop was gone, and so was the phone she used to play the video. But the envelope, the one with the clipping and the note, was untouched, still taped beneath the floorboard in her bedroom closet. Whoever they were looking for something else. Her laptop stolen and her phone trashed. Marion dug deeper into old school methods. She called up a retired local cop, L. Dixon, the original beat officer who had handled Lily's missing person case. He was 82 now, in a care home. At first, he pretended not to remember, but when she showed him the photo and mentioned her mother's name, he caved. Deborah Blythe and Lily were inseparable. Elle muttered, sipping weak coffee. They were always poking around places they shouldn't. Back then, the trainers ran this town. George had half the council in his pocket. What about Lily's diary? Marion asked. Elle glanced over his shoulder. They found it first night, but it vanished from evidence. Lots of things vanished. Did you see it? He nodded slowly. Mentioned being scared of someone. Said she knew a secret that could ruin her father. What secret? He looked at her, eyes narrowing. She didn't say, but one line stuck with me. He will hurt me like he hurt her if I tell. Who's her? Elle shook his head. That page was missing when he came back from the evidence room. Marion's hand trembled. Desperate, she met with Dr. Sandra Beale, a retired therapist who had once worked with several teens in the area, including Lily and shockingly her own mother. Dr. Beale's hands trembled with age, but her memory was sharp. Lily was afraid of someone in her family, she said. She came to me with bruises once. Said she fell, but she didn't. Who was hurting her? I can't say, but she had a plan to leave. Deborah was going to help her. Marion blinked. My mother? She was supposed to drive her to a bus station the night after prom, but Lily never showed, and the next day, she was gone. Marion left Dr. Beale's office in a daze. She now knew 3 things. Lily didn't run away. Someone in her family may have harmed her. Her mother knew everything. But before she could confront her, another email arrived. This one had a new video. The same woman, same room, but this time the message was different. If you found this, then you're closer than you think. I'm not hiding anymore. I'm trapped, but not how you think. It was never just him. It was all of them. The video cut to static. In the background, for just one frame, a symbol appeared on the wall, faded but visible. A red crest with a sword and 3 stars. The world's secrets aren't buried. They are preserved by those who have everything to lose. Marion stared at the red crest, frozen on her laptop screen. 3 stars, a sword, the symbol of St. Velora's Town Council. She'd seen it dozens of times in city halls and history textbooks, but never like this. Painted hastily, almost sloppily, on the wall behind a woman who was supposed to be dead. She zoomed in on the image. Something was off. The angle, the texture of the wall. It wasn't painted on drywall. It was stone, grey, cold and cracked. A basement? She emailed a screen grab to her tech-savvy friend Jace, asking him to analyze the file metadata and enhance the image.
His reply came minutes later. That wall is not from here. One more thing. Your video file didn't come from a phone. The format matches a 1990s digital camcorder. Someone recorded it on tape, then digitized it later. That meant this wasn't a recent video. It had been hidden for decades, and someone had decided now was the time to release it. Mary waited until sunset to confront her mother. Deborah Blythe still lived in the same neat white house with perfectly trimmed hedges and a porch swing that hadn't been moved in years. Her mother opened the door in a blue cardigan, holding a book of crossword puzzles. "You've been poking around again," Deborah said. Not a question, a weary statement. "I saw the video. I saw her." Her mother went pale. "No, you didn't. She's alive, or was. Someone sent me 2 videos. She talked about George Trenor, about being trapped, about you." Deborah gripped the door frame. "I need the truth, Mom." She looked at Marion for a long moment before opening the door wider. Inside, Deborah poured 2 cups of tea. Shaking hands, red eyes, silent lips, she sat at the kitchen table across from Marion, under a hanging lamp that buzzed faintly. "I never wanted you to know," she whispered. "It wasn't just about Lily. It was about what she knew." Marion leaned forward. "Tell me." Deborah stared at her tea. "The Trenors were dangerous, not just rich, not just respected. Your grandfather, George Elias Trenor, he ran a group, old money families. They called themselves the Founders. They said they were protecting the town's legacy." Marion frowned. "That crest, the council emblem?" Her mother nodded. "But not the public version, the original. The sword represents judgment. The 3 stars, 3 founding families, Trenors, Caldwells, Blights." Mary's blood ran cold. "You're saying we are part of this?" Deborah nodded. "I tried to get out. Lily wanted to expose them. She found records, blackmail, threats, maybe worse. She told me she had proof hidden. The night of prom, we were supposed to run, but I got scared." "You didn't go?" "No, and the next morning she was gone. I thought she was dead. We all did." Mary's voice cracked. "Did he kill her?" Deborah didn't answer, but her silence said everything. Jace called the next day. "I traced the original upload part," he said. "Whoever sent the video uploaded it to an unlisted Russian hosting site 3 days ago. IP bounced around the globe, China, Brazil, Iceland, but the first ping was local. The Old Town Library, basement archives." Mary's chest tightened. The archives had been closed to the public since the roof collapsed 5 years ago. But if someone had broken in, she drove there in 20 minutes. The main doors were locked, but she knew a side entrance, one the janitor uses. Inside, the air was musty and stale. Water damage covered the pages of abandoned books. The archives were below ground. Narrow stairwell, no lights. She descended with her phone flashlight, heart hammering. And there it was, a filing cabinet, unlocked. Inside, old videotapes, labeled only with dates, 1980 through 1990. One was marked LT Prom Night. Mary shoved it in her backpack and ran. Back at Jesse's apartment, they loaded the tape into an old VHS-C camcorder he rigged to his computer. Static, then color. Not at prom, in a dark room. Stone walls behind her, she was crying. "If you're seeing this, then I'm gone. Or worse, my name is Lily Trenor and I am not crazy." She sniffled. "They say they built this town, but what they built was a prison. The founders, my father, Councilman Blight and Mayor Caldwell, they hurt people, they silence people. I found the ledgers, the secret meetings, The punishment. They meet in a room under City Hall. They call it the Hall of Truth, but it's a lie. She held up a torn page, a symbol matching the crest Marion saw before. If anything happens to me, it wasn't an accident. It was justice in their eyes. But I'm leaving this here. Someone needs to know. 3 hours later, Marion's phone buzzed with a town-wide alert. Fire at historical library. Building destroyed. Jace turned to her, eyes wide. They are covering their tracks. Mary's heart sank. They know I saw it. And then her phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. You've gone too far. The truth dies tonight, just like Lily. But below the threat was something else. A single image. A grainy current day photo. A woman older now, weary eyes, but undeniably the trainer, alive, standing in front of a door marked Trainer Family Mausoleum. The Trainer Family Mausoleum was perched at the edge of the forest cemetery, draped in vines and shadow. The iron gates creaked as Marion stepped inside, her flashlight illuminating rows of dusty marble plaques. She scanned each name until she found it. Lillian May Traynor, 1972 to 1990. But something was off. Unlike the others, Lily's stone had no inscription below her name. No epitaph, no words of peace or remembrance. Just silence. Marion pressed her hand against the cold marble and felt a faint vibration. A hum, mechanical, almost electrical. She knocked slightly, then her fingers found a crack, a barely visible seam around the stone. It was a tombstone. It was a door, and someone had been here recently. Behind the false panel, a narrow stone staircase spiraled downward. Marion flicked on her phone's flashlight and began to descend. Every step echoed. The air grew colder. The walls were lined with limestone, old, cracked, wet with time. And then she saw it. A thick steel door, rusted with age, marked with the same crest, the sword, and 3 stars. She pushed. It groaned open, and what lay beyond stole her breath. It wasn't a tomb, it was a chamber, candlelit, stone-walled, circular, and on the walls, paintings, murals of St. Velora's founding members, including George Elias Traynor, each holding a key and a scroll. In the center, a massive table carved from obsidian with 12 chairs, 3 of which bore nameplates, Traynor, Blythe, and Caldwell. The rest were blank. Behind the table was a large cabinet, its drawers labeled by years, and inside, Marion found files, dozens of them. One caught her eye. LT Confessional, May 1990. It was a transcript. Lily's confession. Interviewer, state your name. Then Lily Traynor replied, Lillian May Traynor. The interviewer then asked, do you understand the consequences of betrayal? Lily replied, yes. The interviewer said, have you collected evidence of any kind? Lily replied, yes, it's hidden. If you're reading this, it's too late. Marion scanned the remaining pages. It was a coerced confession, conducted by her own family. A thud echoed behind her. She turned fast. Someone was watching. Marion backed away slowly, heart pounding. From the shadows emerged a woman, older, silver-streaked hair, a slight limp. Don't scream, she whispered. It's me, Lily. Marion couldn't speak. Her chest tightened with disbelief. You are alive. Lily nodded. I was never dead. They buried my name, not my body. Marion stepped forward. Why now? Why send the videos? Because the ones who tried to kill me, they are dying. And their children, your generation, are inheriting the lies. If no one breaks the circle,
it starts again. Mary's voice trembled. Why fake your death? They gave me two choices, death or silence. I chose the third. I disappeared. But how? Lily walked to the wall and pulled open a hidden door behind the mural. Inside, surveillance, equipment, tapes, maps, journals. I've lived beneath the town for 30 years, documenting everything. Why not go public? Lily looked at her, hollow-eyed. Would they believe me? I'm the daughter of a judge, branded unstable, a runaway. Marion understood now. The videos weren't just a cry for justice. They were a final warning. Back in Jesse's apartment, they uploaded everything. Tapes, transcripts, the photos, onto a private cloud. And then they heard the news. Councilman Robert Caldwell found dead, self-inflicted gunshots. But the public statement said natural causes. Mary knew better. The founders were falling, but someone was still cleaning up the mess. The next morning, a brown envelope slid under Mary's door. No return address. Inside, a photo of Lily, bound and gagged, inside what looked like a shipping container. A note in the block letter. We warned you. Truth has a cost. The hall of truth shall remain pure. Mary dropped the letter. This wasn't over. They let Lily live once, but not again. Mary didn't sleep. She stared at the photo of Lily, tied up, eyes wide with fear, mouth gagged, taken inside what looked like a steel shipping container. The note was still in her hand, stained from where her thumb gripped it all night. Truth has a cost. She checked the timestamp of the photo's metadata. 23 hours ago. If they hadn't killed her yet, it meant Lily still had value. But that window was closing. Marion rushed to Jesse's studio. He was already scanning the background in the photo for GPS data, location markers, anything. I've enhanced the message. See this. Jess pointed at a barcode on a crate just behind Lily. It's a container ID. Belongs to a dockyard about 30 miles out. Marion felt the room sway. They are moving her. Yeah, and not just her. I found movement in their digital files too. Old documents being transferred off encrypted servers. Someone scrubbing everything. Marion's heart pounded. They are preparing for another reset. Jace met her eyes. You're running out of time. It was dusk when she arrived. The shipping yard stretched out like a metal maze. Stacked containers, forklifts, and windows. She moved quickly, phone in hand, tracking the container ID. It was there, marked in fading white, ZL9204. She climbed the side ladder. Her heart was racing, and with a crowd bar she pried the lock open and flung the doors wide. Empty, except for a recording device. She pressed play. You're getting predictable, Marion. We knew you'd come here, but you're late. By now, Lily's been moved again, and this time you'll never find her. The audio ended. Then from the far side of the yard, gunshots, screams. She ducked. Something exploded behind her. Someone wanted to make sure the evidence and Marion didn't leave alive. She scrambled back to her car and sped away, barely ahead of whoever set the trap. Her phone buzzed, a call from an unknown number. She answered, breathless. Why are you doing this? She asked. A familiar voice answered, soft, steady, her mother. I told you to stop digging, Marion. Marion's throat closed. You sent me that photo. I had to, Deborah said. You left me no choice. I tried to protect you, but you kept going. You threatened everything your grandfather built. Marion nearly crashed the car.
You're part of this? No, Deborah said, voice trembling. I was born into it. I protected you from it. And now you dragged yourself to the front door of the executioners. Marion felt the tears blur her vision. You turned Lily in, didn't you? She wanted to destroy the founders. She was going to take us all down. We were just girls, but she wouldn't listen. So you let them bury her alive. She was never supposed to survive, Deborah whispered. At dawn, Marion walked into the city hall of St. Velora and demanded a meeting with the only living founder left on the council, Mayor Judith Caldwell. In her office, the air was ice. You've made a lot of noise, Miss Blight, the mayor said, fingers stippled. You've made enemies. I want Lily released. The mayor arched a brow. You think this is a negotiation? No, Marion said. It's a trade. She slid a flash drive across the table. Inside is a direct link to every confession, every tape, every ledger. If I don't cancel the upload in the next hour, it goes live to every news agency. Mayor Caldwell didn't blink. And what do you want? I want Lily released. My mother's name removed, her record wiped clean. You want the legacy to survive? Fine, but she's out. I'm out, and Lily walks free. The mayor smirked. What if I say no? Marion leaned in. Then the world sees what your legacy really looks like, and you hang for it. Later that night, Marion sat at the pier, staring into the dark water. Footsteps approached. She turned. Lily, alive, bruised but standing. He pulled it off. Lily said softly, I made a deal. Lily nodded. I knew you would. That's why I chose you. Marion frowned. What do you mean? I sent you the videos, all of them. Marion's breath caught. But the threats, the kidnapping. Lily looked away. That was real, but I staged some of it. I had to scare you, had to ignite something in you. Your mother would have never told the truth otherwise. You used me. I freed you. Silence stretched between them, and then Lily reached into her coat and handed Marion an envelope. Your mother didn't betray me. Not completely. She warned me. That's how I escaped the first time. Marion opened the envelope. Inside was a birth certificate. Name, Marion Ellis Blight. Birth mother, Lillian Traynor. Adoptive guardian, Deborah Blight. The wall tilted. I'm your... Lily nodded. You were born in hiding. Deborah raised you to protect you. I lit the video to bring you back to me, but I needed to be sure you were strong enough to finish what I started. Marion's voice cracked. So this was all a test? No, it was a reckoning for all of us. The video went live, not the full files, but just enough to rattle the bones of St. Velora. Mayor Caldwell resigned. Half the council fled the country. News vans circled the town like vultures. And Marion, she stood on the steps of the courthouse, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. She smiled faintly and said just 3 words. Truth finds light. Then walked away.